He's a little bit country. He's a little bit rock and roll. He's a little bit polka, death metal, abstract jazz, and German industrial techno. He's Scott Leffler. He's not allowed near the stereo at parties.
Hello and welcome to episode 5 of Here's the Thing. It is Tuesday, June 3rd, 2025, and I'm your host. My name's Scott Leffler. So today we've got just 2 interviews. So for those who aren't aware, a lot of times I will pre-record parts of the show because it makes it easier to deal with other people's schedules. Not everyone is available to do an interview at 6 p.m. on a Tuesday. So last week, my buddy Nick Lucido came into the studio, and we sat down, we had a conversation, and it went, let's just say it went over the allotted time. So because Nick and I went so long, I decided to just do Nick and I, and then, of course, the weekly portion with Drew McGrath to talk sports. So we've got Drew McGrath coming up, and then following that, we've got Nick Lucido. We also have music by Nick Lucido's band, Exum Priory, one of Nick's bands, I should say. We have music by the Flying Blind Blues Band. We have music by Karma Queen, and we have music by Grosh. Now, Karma Queen and Grosh are both supposed to be doing in-studio interviews in the not-too-distant future. I'm actually hoping that Karma Queen will be my music guest for next week. Also, my news guest, if you will, for next week, Erie County Executive Mark Polencars. So that'll be an interesting conversation. But that's what we've got going on today. Now, other things going on today, I just drove around Niagara Falls, New York, because it is a beautiful 80 degrees outside, and, 80. I had to look at my device on my desktop, which I will not say its name because then it will respond and it'll want to say things to you. Anyway, a beautiful 80 degrees outside, and driving around Niagara Falls, first of all, I love this city. It is a shit show at times. Most of the time, in fact. But I love driving around, especially in the summer months. You got people on bikes, you got people walking, you got more and more people on scooters, and then, of course, you got people in cars. Now, one thing that I have learned over my 50 years of life is that most of the people in cars should not have driver's licenses. I don't understand how it is that people were given the privilege of driving without understanding basic road facts, like, I don't know, 4-way stops, or, when to go when the light turns green, or a variety of other things. That's neither here nor there. But driving around Niagara Falls, and the greater Niagara Falls area, I see people with, Trump 2024 flags in their yard. And I haven't seen any Trump 2028 signs here in the Falls, but out between like Middleport and Medina on, I think, 104, there is a Trump 2028 flag in somebody's yard, and I don't get where these people come from. It's like they want to ruin everything. On that note, so this is probably a horrible segue. I've said they want to ruin everything. By the way, I got married. That's not where this is. I have several different thoughts all at once. So since the last recording that I did, I got married. It was a beautiful day. We had a great time. The weather didn't cooperate quite as much as we had wanted it to, but that's okay. We have a big house, and we packed people inside. We did spend some time outside in the rain. But for the most part, the party was indoors, and we had an absolute blast. Drew and I will talk about that during our interview today. But one of the things with the wedding was that a lot of people, despite our request that we get no gifts, because we're both, I hate to say it, middle-aged, and we pretty much have everything we need, and we have the ability to buy everything we want. But a lot of people didn't like the idea of coming to a wedding and not bringing gifts, so they brought us gifts. And I appreciate that, even though, you can't follow rules. It's like, learning how to drive. Anyway, a lot of people gave us different gift cards for this and that and the other thing. One of the gift cards we had was for TJ Maxx. Now, TJ Maxx is a fun store. There's one in Niagara Falls. I know there's one in Lockport. I'm sure there's one in Amherst. I feel like there's one in like the Clarence Williamsville, or maybe that's the other Amherst. The two Amhersts are, well, it's really one Amherst. It's just really big. Anyway, long story short, TJ Maxx is great for games. And so we're looking at different games to play in our yard. And one of the things that we had seen was a big-ass, basically a beer pong game, but with giant cups and a huge ball that you put in the yard. And we were intrigued by this until we saw that there were, like, flags on the side. And it was, you've probably seen this basic image. It's kind of like a tattered flag, and it's very, something about it is very right-wing. And this is one of my points for the day. So we got the tattered flags, and I hate this term, I really do, but it gives me the ick. And so we're like, well, we're not getting that, because there's something about that says like MAGA, and I don't want to be associated with those people. They got crazy flags in their yards. And so we got flags and flags, right? But I think that it's a real shame. A little bit of politics before we get to the show. And that's what my portion is for, by the way. You can always skip this portion if you want and just tune in a little later, or listen to the podcast, which I do podcast at allwnyradio.com right after the show ends. So if you want to skip me, fine. Just listen to the interviews, whatever. Or fast forward through me, because we also post this to YouTube, and you can fast forward there. Anyway, I've been thinking this for literally years. It is a shame the way in which certain, in my opinion, undesirable groups just take over what was good. I've mentioned before that I am a registered libertarian. To me, that is a good thing, but it's been taken over by crazies. So now I tell people that I'm libertarian, and they assume that I'm crazy, like one step off from being fascist, because that is what has taken over the Libertarian Party in America. The American flag, which should be something celebrated by all of us, unfortunately has kind of been co-opted by absolute lunatics in huge pickup trucks, that pray to Elon Musk every night. I see cars going down the road with their American flags, and not cars, but trucks. Well, I guess cars too, but mostly pickup trucks, with the American flags in the back, and they're flapping in the wind. And I love America, but I don't love the fact that these people have co-opted a purely American symbol and turned it into a symbol for assholery. It's so infuriating. So in a previous life, I was married before, and my ex-wife really liked Americana stuff. So she had like the Boyd's Bears with the American flags on them, and we had like paintings in our living room with American flags everywhere. That was a good 25 years ago. Somewhere between the year 2000 and now, the image of the American flag has been turned into something vile. And I say that because the people that seem to hoist it the loudest, or proudest, if you will, are the people that stand for things that, in my opinion, are very un-American. It's not an American ideal to be an asshole, but most of the people that, wave this flag in your face, that's what they are. And I know that there are people from the left side of the aisle that do appreciate the American flag, and would probably love to have an American flag, in front of their house. We used to have a 1870 American flag. I think it was called the Nebraska American flag, because our house was built in 1865. And it was an 1860 American flag, because our house was built in 1865. So it was the flag that was flying at the Capitol building when the house was built. We thought that was kind of cool. But now I wouldn't do that, because I wouldn't want somebody to think that, oh, that guy voted for Trump. And it's a shame the way that certain things, and particularly today I'm talking about the American flag, but it's a shame the way that things get co-opted. So, I don't know, I'm throwing that out there. If you want to respond, please feel free to do so. We're on all the socials. We're on Facebook. We're on X. We're on BlueSky. We're on Threads. We're on YouTube. It's pretty much everything. I don't do the TikTok. I don't get the TikTok. We're not doing the TikTok. But if you want to respond to my thoughts or anything from today's show, respond via one of those social media things. All right. I'm going to take a quick break because we need to play a song, and we are going to play a song by Grosh. And then when we come back, we'll have Andrew McGrath, and Drew and I are going to talk a variety of things, but mainly sports. You're listening to Here's the Thing. I'm Scott Leffler. We'll be right back.
Scott Leffler is a professional talk show host in a controlled environment. Please do not attempt to have opinions at home.
All right, and joining us in studio once again for the sports section of our show is Andrew McGrath. Drew, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Always a pleasure. Now, again, like last week, not a lot of sports has gone on.
No. We did, though, say root for the Bandits to win.
And they won?
Yeah.
Which I'm going to assume is all us.
Yeah. It was,
I mean, I know that
it was like the last, 30-plus minutes. So it was the whole second half, and, I think it was 3 or 4 minutes into, with, the first half left.
Right.
Of, the second quarter or period or whatever it is.
Right.
That was the last time they scored.
So I know that there are, 17 to 19,000 fans at every game. Buffalo Bandits regularly sell out their games, which is weird for a lacrosse team.
Yeah.
But they regularly sell out the games. And like I said, I know that there are nearly 20,000 fans at every game, but I'm going to give the win to us. Sure. I think that it was our good wishes.
Sure. Yeah. Because we kind of...
congratulations for that.
Yeah, we kind of said it,
Definitely, yeah.
Talked it into existence.
Now, that said, I know a lot of people will feel personally responsible for a team's win or loss because they wore the right socks or didn't wear the right socks, or the hat that they wore, or like they didn't have a bagel that, like whatever.
All the superstitions.
All the superstitions. Now, I don't know that I really have any superstitions. I don't even wear like Bills gear to watch Bills games. Usually I do, but it's not like a rule. Like sometimes I don't. So I am not particularly superstitious when it comes to me affecting sports teams. What about you?
No. If there's a game on, I'll obviously wear like something,
right? But just not because you feel
for
that helps.
Right, for football, just because it's showing support,
because you want people to know that you're a Bills fan,
right?
You don't want them to think that you're there rooting for the Jets.
But it's hard with baseball though, because there's so many games. It's
right.
It's like I don't want to have to put on a jersey or something or a T-shirt or
162 times a year,
yeah.
Right? Yeah. So the other sports stuff that's gone on has been very much behind the scenes. I know that the Bills have their OTAs. James Cook decided not to show up,
which is perfectly fine in my opinion.
It's
optional.
I'm not thrilled about it. But we can talk about that in a little bit. Of course, Josh Allen got married on Saturday.
Yep.
Now, I'm a little upset, to be completely honest with you.
Why is that?
Well, because I got married last Sunday, and
I don't know. I think that possibly happened.
And I feel that Josh Allen has stolen all the thunder from my marriage.
No one cared.
I think that my wedding, because Josh Allen was also getting married, I don't think that it got the public support and recognition that it deserved.
No one cared.
What do you mean no one cared?
Exactly. Enough said.
Drew, they can't see how ugly you are.
I know.
On the radio. But, so no. All right, so obviously we didn't get a chance to talk.
Shots fired.
Yeah, so speaking of shots, we'll talk about that. So, backing up, talking about my wedding. Because, we didn't really do this last week because we had pre-recorded, because we didn't know what was going to happen. But, so, my wedding was May 25th. It was a Sunday. We got married in a beautiful park, and then had the reception back at our house. We actually had 2 receptions, one for family, one for friends. Now, my nephew came in from out of state, from Baltimore. He didn't come in for my wedding. He came in because it was his birthday, and he wanted to spend it with his immediate family, his mom and his brothers, etc. But did come to the wedding on Sunday and spent most of the day there. Now, a couple years ago, the River Pub on Buffalo Avenue here in Niagara Falls, owned by Billy Jones, who I used to go to school with, and his lovely wife, Kelly, they introduced us to a beverage called Shanky's Whip. It is a whiskey. Yeah, it's a whiskey liqueur. It tastes nothing like whiskey. Anyway.
It's weird. It's weird too for a whiskey, not even to have any taste of whiskey.
It is very, very smooth, which makes it dangerous, of course. Anyway, so a few months ago, my now wife bought a big bottle and then bought another big bottle. We bought all of our own alcohol for the wedding because we were having it at our house. And over time, I've been going through the one bottle, but we had a bottle and a half left. Anyway, long story short, everyone who tries this loves it. And my nephew was like, this is the best stuff. So after the wedding, the next day, he texted me. He's like, hey, what was that stuff called? So I told him. And he's like, his boyfriend, Thomas, his wedding was his birthday, I should say, was this past weekend. So we bought a bottle for his birthday. And my nephew, Jake, texted me a picture. He's like, I found it. And then the day of the birthday party, texted me, he's like, we ran out.
Nice.
And so now one of his friends in Baltimore is like, I got to get some of this. So thanks to Billy Jones from the River Pub, this Shanky's Whip, which is a whiskey liqueur, it is delightful, I just got to say. It's kind of a shame that you couldn't have any, Drew, but I understand that sometimes you got to do what you got to do.
Yes.
But the rest of us definitely had your share and probably then some.
Yes.
So.
Oh yeah, that bottle was gone in probably probably a good 10 minutes.
And literally everybody who's had it has been like, wow, this stuff's amazing. So So my nephew has now passed it on to one of his other friends from Baltimore. So all because of Billy Jones, they should.
Well, Anthony was the one that actually told Billy and Kelly.
Antho?
Yeah.
All right.
So yeah, and then
Antho or Anthony Barak was a bowling team member of ours. He was also at the wedding, and I'm pretty sure that he did have some of the Shanky's whip, and he finished off something else. I don't remember what it was, but yeah. However, we do have like 6 cases of like Bud Light and Blue Light and like Coors Banquet beer. We overestimated the amount of crappy beer that people were going to drink. So now we have to have like we're going to have a block party with our neighbors from the street, and just so that we can try to get rid of some of the bad alcohol.
Yeah, I think like once like craft beers like really started taking off, like especially within the last 3 to 5 years.
Uh-huh.
I don't think domestic beers are really like as big anymore.
My wife's father bought all the beer for us, which was like obviously so nice.
Yeah.
Because like they came home with like 6 cases of beer, but it was all like Blue Light, Miller, Coors, Yingling was the most exciting of the beers that they brought home.
See, I've had Coors before, the original, the banquet one. It's not bad.
Again,
all those to me
right.
though, like that one would be the one I would
right.
probably prefer to drink if I was drinking at that time.
Right. Anyway, a good time was had by all. But
yeah, it was good.
But now Josh Allen went and like superseded it, and so I'm kind of mad.
Well, at least you got your gift was cool though.
Which gift?
The boards.
Oh, the cornhole.
Yeah.
So we had told people very specifically, no gifts. I'm 50, she's 47. We really have everything we need.
Yeah.
So we told people no gifts. We had about 100 people, and the vast majority of them completely ignored our wishes and gave us things. But my wife's uncle made us a Buffalo Bills cornhole set, and so that was pretty darn cool.
Yeah.
We played some cornhole out in the rain.
Yeah.
Because it did rain a lot on Sunday.
Yeah.
Which is awesome when you've got 100 people at your house. Because most of it we spent inside. But we did play some cornhole out in the rain. The wife and I played cornhole the following day.
Okay.
And neither one of us is very good at it. So we need to practice a lot more. But that's a whole other issue.
Well, yeah.
So back to the Steinfeld wedding. So Mr. and Mrs. Steinfeld got married yesterday.
Wow, it's not Alan? You're that bad?
I'm sorry, not yesterday, but Saturday. I don't even know what day it is. Anyway, so they got married on Saturday, and it was a star-studded event. I saw a thing in the news today of some of the people that were there. Have you seen a list of, like, who all was there?
No, but I seen, like, there was a couple, so Gabe Davis was there, former Bill, Deion Dawkins, obviously, and Dawson Knox and Mitch Trubisky.
Mitch surprised me. I thought that was cool, though. Larry David was there.
Wow. Okay.
Which I did not expect. So this was the one that really shocked me, was that Larry David was at this wedding. Now, Larry David, for those of you who don't know, is the guy behind Seinfeld.
Right.
Not Steinfeld, but Seinfeld. I don't know. There's something weird there, right?
Mm.
And also Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Yeah, I think those are the 2 biggest ones.
Yeah. Anyway, but that was the big Hollywood name there, or at least the big Hollywood name that came out. But sounds like the happy couple, they got their rings. Now hopefully Josh can get another one this year.
Yeah. Oh, you seen that joke?
Yeah. I agree. I thought it was a good joke, which is why I restated it as though it were my own.
Finally got its ring. Yeah.
Yeah. Any thoughts on the wedding? Not well, either wedding really.
Don't really care about that wedding. If now he's at peace and he plays better, okay.
Right.
The only thing that matters is the last game of the year, and if you win it. Honestly,
all right. So on the relationship front, continuing in football, did you see the Steph Diggs news?
Yes. Wow.
Yeah. And you know what? They go so well together. Now, for those of you who it might not have heard, it came out that Steph Diggs and Cardi B are quote-unquote Instagram official, which I guess means that they're a couple. Now...
Oh, you're talking about that. I thought you were talking about the other part of his.
What other part?
He's possibly in trouble with the Patriots in the league for something containing either some sort of pink cocaine or pink, bath salts. Yeah, it's pink bath salts or something like that. That
interesting. I did not hear about that.
Yeah, that's what I thought you were talking about.
I was talking about the Cardi B thing.
I don't pay attention to that stuff.
Well, it's just so Steph Diggs, when he came in to the team, everybody was so excited. He lit it up. Him and Allen got along great.
He was a really good player for us.
But then there was the drama. And I just feel like Cardi B is 100% drama. So I do feel like they go well together.
Oh, okay.
Yeah?
Sure. I don't care.
All right, so continuing on with that. Drew, you're doing a great job of helping out the show today.
I know.
You're still there going, I don't have any opinions on anything.
Yeah. Question for you. I
could just get a new hamster and they could sit there. And not
you probably could. So I sent you the trailer for Happy Gilmore 2.
All right, so wait, we'll go there, but first I want to. So I'm going to leapfrog off of Steph onto James.
Okay.
And this is my big problem with the James Cook thing. You've already got a contract. Play the fucking contract.
Okay, now, though.
And it's drama that we don't need. Can we have a season that doesn't have drama? Can we win a fucking Super Bowl?
Right.
But no, we can't, because one person decides that he's worth, and I'm not saying he's not, but he's got a contract.
See, that's tough.
When you've got a contract with a company, you can't go, I know that that I told you that I would work here for $50,000 a year for the next 5 years, but 4 years in, I've decided that I am worth double that. And if you don't pay me, I'm just not going to come to work anymore. The contract holdouts drive me nuts.
Okay.
And yes, the Bills could probably afford it. I know Allen wants them to pay him, but can we just have a year without some fucking controversy?
I get that. I get that aspect of it, but now it's you get all these complaints and everything.
So all the respect that I have gained for James Cook over the years, it's gone.
Okay, so to me, yeah, he had a really good year last year, and he had a decent year the year before. It'll all work out if he has another really good year again. But I doubt he will, because I don't think that the team's going to put him in the position to, because then that's going to mean that they're going to have to pay his price. But now, in defense of him, he had a really good year. Now, if a guy doesn't perform or underperforms, they either want to reduce your salary or cut you. Restructuring contracts. To help the team save money and everything like that. Basically, they're trying to tell you that because you're not performing at the same point. I'm pretty sure
every time I've seen a contract restructured, the player still gets the same amount of money. They just get it differently. They might get it over a longer period of time, or they might get some up front versus...
Sure. But
never does the player get screwed.
Well, but they could also get cut, though. They could get cut, which is...
But they're still under contract. They still get paid.
A portion.
So the team pays a portion, and then the new team pays a portion.
If the guy gets picked up, right? Yeah. So I can see it's a business, that's all.
Sure, it's a business,
right? And that's what it all boils down to. In all regards to the matter, as long as he produces and everything like that. Right now, it's an optional team workout, organized team activities,
right?
Not mandatory. Okay. My thing would be
I get that.
now.
I do get that.
Now, to me, it becomes a problem. June 10th to the 12th. Right, that's the mandatory.
Now, do you expect him to show up for the mandatory? Because I don't.
I do.
I don't.
I think he's going to show up.
Not with what he's posting on his social media.
I think he's showing up, but he's not going to participate.
I don't know. At this point, I just want to cut him. I'm done. I'm so sick of these millionaires whining about how little money they have. Well, normal people are just happy to have a damn job.
Yeah.
And look, I love football. I love sports in general. I love millionaires, especially ones that play. What I don't love is people deciding suddenly that they're more important than basically the rest of the team, and that is what I have seen. That is how this comes across to me.
Yeah, I get that aspect of
so
it.
I'd cut him right now.
So that's my thing. It's like if he does the whole thing of like a hold in, basically show up but not participate. Now to me, that's the bigger deal.
Right.
Him not showing up for OTAs and whatever, and him saying what he's saying. Right now, it's fine. Okay, I get it. Last year was contract. He wasn't a first round pick.
Right. So
he doesn't get that 5th year option like a lot of guys do. So, that's just basically how that collective bargaining agreement worked out. Unfortunately for him, but
All right. Well, if he does get cut from the team, maybe he'll become a pro golfer.
Nice leading to that. Yeah. So I was messing around on Facebook, and you know how like sometimes you scroll and they got the videos and everything like that.
Every time I scroll through Facebook, they have videos. And here's the thing: if I want to listen to the video, there's never any volume. If I don't want to listen to the video, it immediately starts blaring as I'm scrolling by.
Yeah.
That's the algorithm that Facebook has really perfected.
I know, like, it's weird,
but yeah. So you saw this thing from Netflix, because
yeah.
Netflix had this event the other day. I don't remember what it was called, but they basically like outlined all the new shows and movies that are coming out this year.
Happy Gilmore 2.
Happy Gilmore 2. Now, so Drew sent me this clip of it. It was like a couple minutes, maybe.
I think it was like a minute and a half, 2 minutes.
Yeah, so it was a preview, and I watched it. Now, we had heard that there was going to be a Happy Gilmore 2 last winter, maybe.
I think it was like we heard about it last year, actually. And Christopher McDonald was at the casino,
right?
Yeah.
I remember you sending me a picture, and you're like, Shooter McGavin's here, and I thought that like this was like a nickname that you had for one of your friends or something. Until I'm like, oh shit, that's really him. Anyway, and then, so right around the time that was, and I want to say this is like November-ish, maybe? Anyway, it doesn't matter. Right around the time that was, it also came out on social media that he said that there was going to be a Happy Gilmore 2, which was then confirmed by Sandler? It was confirmed by somebody shortly thereafter. So, for a while now, several months, we've been talking about, or considering the fact that there would be a Happy Gilmore 2, and I've been scared because it's been 30 years. The first movie was really good, and I was afraid that they were going to ruin it. But I saw the preview, and it
didn't look bad.
It did not look bad. Now
the preview,
it could still be bad.
Yeah, but for a preview though, on a scale of 1 to 10. I would say it was like about a 5 or a 6, so it wasn't like super high expectations in the previews, which they normally do.
Right.
Like, but no, it was kind of like, okay, like I would like tune into it.
Right. So I will definitely watch it on Netflix because it's on Netflix, so we don't have to go to the movie to see it, which is good. So I will definitely watch it on Netflix. So it's got Adam Sandler is back, and he is, it's now. So he's 30 years older than he was in the last movie, and he is basically retired, still driving a crappy car.
Yeah.
And his daughter
the same exact car.
Was it the same car? I wasn't positive. I had a feeling it was, but I wasn't positive.
No, I think it's the same color, basically.
Gotcha.
And,
But his daughter wants to, like, go to ballet school or something like that.
And he's got to afford ballet school.
And it's $75,000 a year. Now, clearly, he saved none of the money from his golf from his early years.
Right, and
now he's got to go back and play golf to win money so that his daughter can.
His girlfriend was an executive on the tour, so like I don't know.
You would think that they would still have a little bit of money left over,
right? But
apparently they did not. Right. Which, you know what? I understand.
Right. Well, economy now, like
I feel seen. So he's got to go back and play golf, and then he is Happy Gilmore. He is who he is. He's not very. Well, I can't say that he isn't very good, but he's definitely not conventional, and so he gets the fans, and it has the same feels, but it's a different premise. Although it is kind of the same premise. Before he was trying to raise the money to save Grandma's house or whatever.
Right.
Now he's trying to raise the money so that his daughter can go to ballet school. Anyway, long story short, it doesn't look horrible.
Yeah, it's definitely like according to the preview. Like if you watch the preview, it looks like it's like okay, I could tune into it. Yeah.
If you have not seen the preview, I do suggest that you watch it. Although not now. Wait until the show's over.
Okay, so speaking of that, it came. A question popped into my head after sending that to you.
All right. Is this your question?
Yes.
All right. So every week, either Drew asks me a question or I ask him a question. Last week, I asked him if he had to name a kid after a Western New York community, what would it be? And I don't remember what he said.
For a girl, it was Aurora.
Right.
For a boy, Alan.
Yeah, and those both make sense. But and I said Lewiston.
Yeah.
Either.
Yeah.
So this is Drew's question. He's going to ask me, and if you want to answer yourself, you can do so on any of our socials, Facebook, X. We do the BlueSky. We're obviously on YouTube. So we would love to hear your thoughts on this question as well.
Okay, so I'm going to give you an option. There's Format A or Format B.
Okay.
Format A, top 3, or option B, top 5.
Let's just go top 3.
Your favorite or top 3 sports movies that you either like or watched or whatever.
All right, top 3 sports movies. I got to go probably Major League at number 1, Caddyshack at number 2, and Moneyball at number 3.
Okay.
Obviously, Major League and Caddyshack, both of the same era.
Yes.
They were late 80s, early 90s comedies. Moneyball, was that 15 years ago or so it came out?
Yeah, it was Brad Pitt, yeah.
And Moneyball wasn't really about baseball, but it was. And it just, so for me, what Moneyball did was it made me look, honestly, the biggest thing I got out of Moneyball was, holy shit, Jonah Hill can act.
Mm-hmm.
Because prior to that, he had always just been a goofball.
Yeah.
He was great in that movie.
It kind of, but I think what was a fascinating part of that movie, it actually allowed people to see, like, the business side of how sports work.
Right.
So that was kind of a
but
cool
yeah,
aspect of it.
Moneyball, I get, you got like your YouTube shorts or Instagram shorts or Facebook, like those, 60-second videos that show you like a part of something. I will frequently get clips of Moneyball on mine. And every time I do, I'm like, I should rewatch that. But I probably just watched it less than a year ago. But I get those for a lot of movies.
Gotcha.
Yeah. What about you?
Okay.
So, by the way, before we do that, what do you think of my list? Solid?
Major League is one of my favorite.
Right. You also like Major League 2.
I do.
Which I'm not a huge fan of.
Okay, because the reason why I like 2 is because to me, like Omar Epps just gave it a different vibe to the character that Wesley Snipes played.
Right.
And the fact that Tom Berenger is now the manager, so it's like, yeah, it's like being a player and now like all of a sudden have to do that. It's like, okay, yeah. So it was just like unique in that aspect, but like also like the whole rivalry with Parkman where he was on a team and he was off the team because of Roger Dorn and all that. Yeah, made bad business moves.
Right.
Yeah, financially. So yeah. But I appreciate Caddyshack. Always a classic. Chevy Chase and Bill Murray. Can't go wrong there. Rodney Dangerfield.
Miss it, Nuna, miss it.
Right. Moneyball, yeah, okay. Yeah. So me. Remember the Titans.
Love Remember the Titans. Little heartstringy though. I don't want heartstrings in my sports movies.
Yeah. Any Given Sunday.
Okay. Pacino.
Yep. And Jamie Foxx. Yep. And honestly, Miracle.
The hockey movie?
Yeah.
Okay.
Based on the Olympic team.
The 1980 Olympic team. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Just because
I did not imagine that coming from you.
Because I thought it was very well done.
Right.
And Kurt Russell to me.
I expected some stupid shit like The Replacements.
No. Although I do enjoy it, but like it's not my one of my favorites. But like no, like Miracle because it was very, in my opinion, it was very very well done. Like and Kurt Russell playing Herb Brooks and everything, and trying to be this guy that like not everybody was famous and synonymous with.
Right.
But only for that one moment.
Gotcha.
And it was, and just the iconic call of like Al Michaels' voice and everything. So yeah.
The one thing that I think is funny about that movie, and not just the movie, but what it's based on is, so that was almost 50 years ago. That was 45 years ago. And in many people's minds, we won the gold. And that was us winning the gold.
When we beat the USSR. No, right.
But it wasn't. It was that was just us beating Russia. But that was such a big deal.
That was the semifinal game, actually, because then we actually had to beat Sweden for the gold.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's just funny because it's hard to imagine if you're under the age of say 30. What the rivalry between the United States and Russia was, and specifically, I really feel like 1980 was like that was the turning point, not the turning point, but that was the pinnacle
for hockey, and then
early 80s, and then we got
there was the basketball where the college players lost to the USSR,
right?
But everything. So
at the time, everything was the U.S. and Russia.
Right.
We got Miracle. We got, and I'm almost surprised you didn't mention any of the Rocky movies in yours. Because we got, was it Rocky 4 with Ivan Drago?
Yeah, 4 is very good. 4 is very good. I've also seen the Creeds as well. I haven't seen 3. I haven't seen Creed 3 yet.
I saw the first Creed. I didn't hate it, but I didn't love it enough to watch the second one.
Yeah, I watched the first one and the second one. To me, though, like the whole Rocky franchise, kind of like after 4, kind of went downhill.
Right. But it
didn't matter. Rocky 5, Rocky Balboa,
it didn't matter because by that point, Sylvester Stallone had made his mark.
Yeah.
Like I kind of love that story because he pitched this script, and they're like, we love it. Like, who can we get to play Rocky? He's like, no, I'm playing Rocky. And like they're like, but you can't act for shit. And they were right. Like, he can't act for shit. But I do love some of his movies.
But like that role kind of fit him.
It did.
Yeah, like you could like that, like rugged Italian guy that like probably grew up with a hard life.
Overall, the Rocky franchise, the Rocky movies, and then the Creeds, I mean, we ought to be talking billions of dollars, right?
I would imagine.
Yeah,
I would imagine. Yeah.
And then on top of that, he went on to play Rambo. He was in Judge Dredd. He was in Demolition Man.
Expendables franchise.
The Expendables franchise. I mean, I can't imagine the amount of money that he made just from that, having written this one script that he was like, and had he just written the script, he probably would have made a couple $100,000 and, died homeless. But, because he really stuck to his guns, he ended up who he is.
Yeah. Yeah, so that, because it's sending that trailer.
All right, so your list again is?
So I said, Remember the Titans.
Remember the Titans, Any Given Sunday.
And Miracle.
And Miracle. All right. Decent, not bad. So if you would like to tell us what your top 3 favorite movies, sports movies, are, we'd love to hear it. Maybe in another week we'll talk about just movies, which is, I had a conversation with a friend of mine the other day about, like, your favorite movies, and, like, I could say, like, oh, this is my favorite movie, and be talking about 6 or 7 different movies. It just depends on my mood, the day of the week, what I had for dinner. But I have at least half a dozen quote-unquote favorite movies.
I don't think I really have like one set favorite movie.
Well, you know what? It was Nick. It was Nick Lucido. Because he was commenting on my
yeah.
So I don't the interview with Nick coming up after this, by the way.
So I don't think I have like one favorite movie. I have a lot of movies that I like, and I could watch them over and over again.
Right.
Yeah.
All right.
So.
Well, that's going to do it for Drew. Drew, get the hell out of here.
All right.
But no. So that's going to do it for this portion of the show. We're going to play some music, and when we come back, we will have Nick Lucido, and he and I are going to do... All right, so number one, Nick was supposed to sit in that chair that you're in for half an hour, right?
Okay.
A little over an hour later, I'm like, get out. So the Nick interview is a little longer than we normally do, and it is all over the place. So definitely stick around. If you're listening on the podcast and you just decided that you wanted to listen to the Drew portion of the podcast, because Drew, I split the podcasts up, and the Drew portion of the podcast week for week has been the most popular part.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, which shocks me because I find you boring as shit.
Thank you.
So if you're listening to the podcast, definitely make sure that you listen to the Nick Lucido part because it is a very fun and interesting interview. I'm Scott Leffler. He is Andrew McGrath. Dude, we didn't even talk about the Niagara Falls Americans.
Oh, yes. So their season opener is Friday.
Well, the season opener is tomorrow, Wednesday.
Well, the home opener.
Home opener is Friday.
Yeah.
And I'm a little conflicted because I just got from the casino free tickets to Buddy Guy.
Oh, okay.
And
no. But anyway, yeah.
You have no respect for Buddy Guy? Blues legend Buddy Guy?
He's okay.
I mean, he is 90, but...
That's... Is it the same Buddy Guy? That's a problem. Yeah.
I feel like Buddy Guy at 90 is still probably really good. Anyway, but that doesn't start until 8, so I think I may go to the first part of the baseball.
We could probably go and then just
we should. I said I got tickets.
No, not the Buddy Guy.
Right.
No, I'm saying to the Americans.
To the Americans game.
Yeah, so we could probably go. Catch a few innings, see how the team does.
Well, I'm thinking leave your ass there so that you can report on the game for all Western Europe.
I could do that. Yeah, I could do
and
that.
I'll just go to the concert.
Yeah.
Anyway, I don't even know where that was going.
Awesome.
Long story short, music, commercial, we'll be back. I'm Scott Leffler. He's Drew McGrath. You're listening to Here's the Thing on All Western New York Radio.
Well, them doctors and lawyers, businessmen and CEOs, they got all that fine jewelry. Yeah, they wear the nicest clothes. But me, I'm just blue collar. Got 2 jobs to make ends meet. Most times I'm wearing church clothes, holy knees and holy feet. I don't make a lot of money. Sometimes I just get by. But it's better than that sharp stick being poor what's in your eye. I guess with working there's no difference. Yes, we all get dirty hands. Some from going in others' pockets, some from working on the land. At least I can wash that dirt off when I come home late at night. Them other fellas' hands stay dirty, even though they're lily white. I don't make a lot of money. Hell, sometimes I just get by. But it's better than that sharp stick being paupers in your eye.
You're listening to All Western New York Radio. Get your news from us. Go to subscribe.allwnynews.com and sign up for our daily update. The Niagara Falls Americans are set to kick off their second season at Sale-Magley Stadium with their first home game on June 6th. With 24 home games throughout June and July, there's plenty of opportunity to catch the action. But why not see them all? Season tickets start at just $99 and are available now at NiagaraFallsAmericans.com. All right, so talking to Drew about Buddy Guy made me want to put on some blues. So I put on the Flying Blind Blues Band from way back in the day, way back when All West New York was just starting. That was Sharpstick. And up next, we got a song by Karma Queen. Now, they're supposed to be our musical guest next week, so hopefully that's the case. So we got Karma Queen, and then following that, we got Nick Lucido.
Ladies and gentlemen, today, the role of Scott Leffler will be played by your 7th grade English teacher.
Joining us in studio tonight is legendary musician, Nick Lucido. Nick, thanks for coming in, man.
Oh, thank you for having me, Scott. Would you like a pull of, I think it's whiskey in this.
No, I'm good for now, thank you.
All right.
I got my coffee. I'm happy.
Perfect.
But I do appreciate it. I did tell you if you want something to drink, bring it, because all I got is coffee and water. So.
I mean, that works for me, too, but, might as well.
Ever since you stopped using the office, that's pretty much all we have in here is coffee and water. Now, Nick, for those of you who don't know, used to do a podcast used to do a couple podcasts for All Western New York Radio.
Yeah.
He did the Nick and Dan show for a couple seasons.
No, WNY, I think we did 2 seasons. We did 1 season prior, but then season 2, 3, and... Oh, yeah, did we do a season 4?
I don't remember.
Yeah, I mean, we did
ago.
We did several seasons.
It was
and at least
pre-pandemic, and the world just doesn't exist back then.
And at least a few of them appeared on LWNY, for sure.
And then you also did the Carl Skellington show, which, if I must say, was fucking ridiculous.
The Skeleton Closet with Carl Winslow.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, he's actually right here. What's going on?
No. He's not here. In fact, he was never here.
No, he doesn't exist. It's just another voice in my head, actually.
Does he actually still exist, though? Do you still have the skeleton?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So there is actually a skeleton that...
yeah, no, we still have him.
Used for publicity photos.
He just hangs out, I think, in my attic right now. We haven't had him out in a while.
Gotcha.
He, leg fell off. You know, it's a plastic skeleton. He can only take so much drunken abuse.
So it's not skeletons in your closet, but in your attic.
Yes.
Understood.
At least singular. Possibly several.
All right, so aside from being a former podcaster, Nick is the lead singer and guitarist for Exum Priory.
Yep.
And you also went on a little tour with Potus XXX, right? Like an unofficial part of that organization?
Oh, no, I'm official. I'm an official part of that organization. I'm one of the founding members of Potus XXX. Yes, when we initially started putting it together to, obviously, shit post against Joe Kent, who we love on the Think So Joe show, I really had no clue what everything was all about, but they said, hey, would you like to play guitar on some tracks? And I jumped at the chance. It was during the pandemic, so I was bored as all hell. We weren't playing out.
And you felt like singing about barbecue.
Yeah. Well, they sung about barbecue. I just played guitar about barbecue.
Gotcha.
I don't even know if you can do... No, we're going to go with that. No, I played guitar about barbecue. So there we go.
That reminds me of something that I don't know why this came up in my brain the other day, but years ago I had seen a post about, like, old school medicine. Mm-hmm. And they were like, oh, you have ghosts in your blood. Do some cocaine about it.
Yeah.
And,
old-timey medicine. Yeah, the ads are great.
Play some guitar about it.
That's right. Just play some guitar about it. I mean, playing music certainly does make people feel better, and it made me feel a lot better at that point.
So tell me about the trip to Ohio.
It was, being in a vehicle with those people was freaking interesting, and they're all awesome, but, everybody's
now,
very...
What people?
So we had Leland...
was stuck in a car with you?
So let's see, we had Leland from, let's see, Bastard, Yellow Sauce, Ritual Walk. I know, I'm sure other musical things that he's done, but those are like the most recent main ones I know. Maximo, we just call him Maximo. I know there's a last name, and it's just blanking on me right now. But,
now, Maximo's the one that has the beef, if you will, with John. Correct?
Yes, correct. Yeah, I don't know. Beef. We're going to go with beef because I really can't think of a better word to describe what's going on there. Yeah, beef.
Now,
sure.
John being the drummer for Think So Joe Kent's band.
Yep.
Living Brain Dead.
And Hush Hush, I believe, is the other one that he plays drums for. Right. John does. But Maximo's the singer in Bastard. Then we've got Dewey from Wyatt Coyne and Green Jello. Mm-hmm. We've got Rosie from Green Jello, who is dating Maximo. And then
Never a good idea. I'm telling you, musicians out there, just don't do it. It's the worst idea ever. And generally speaking, don't date someone you work with. I can attest to the fact that it does not tend to go well.
Yeah, no, it usually kind of ends funky and really, really awkward with HR involved. And you just don't want that. No.
HR if you're lucky.
If you're lucky.
Yeah.
But anyway, it was us crammed into a vehicle. For most of the way down there, it was just Dewey, Leland, and I, which that's just the two of those guys. The thought process, I'd love to know it. Actually, I don't, because I already know mine. It's freaking weird. So maybe just some things are better left unsaid. But they were fun to drive down with. Then we got down to Canton.
Now, I imagine you guys stopping every 40 minutes for tomfoolery.
It wasn't exactly every 40 minutes, but there are definitely, like...
there was plenty of tomfoolery?
Joe owes us a barbecue and Potus XXX stickers all up and down the throughways from Buffalo down to, Dayton. So... Joe,
you were all the way in Dayton?
Yeah.
I don't know why I was thinking you were right outside Cleveland.
No, so we stopped in Canton just for a layover because that's where Rosie lives, where Maximo was, and then from there we all piled into a single vehicle and drove all the way down to Dayton, Ohio, and that's where the show was.
Gotcha.
It's been ages since I've stretched my legs that far out musically, and it's nice to see that the band scene down there is still kicking.
Right.
It was a weird mixture. There's like a straightforward rock band, a lot of like metal, like hard metal bands, all great people. Right in the middle.
I lived in Ohio for 8 years, by the way.
Yeah.
Never been to Dayton. I just never had a reason to go to Dayton.
I know. I drove through it. I've drove through it several times in my life. I can say that nothing against Dayton, but yeah, there's not a whole lot to us. Unless you're from there, I don't know of anything going on in Dayton. So, but then I'm standing outside the venue, and this is besides the fact that Potus XXX is playing, which...
Now, what's the name of the venue?
Oh gosh, Hidden Gem. Hidden Gem was the music venue name in Dayton, Ohio. But anyway, I'm standing outside, having a smoke, talking to some of the other bands, just making connections, because it's nice to meet people that aren't from Buffalo.
Sure.
And I'm sitting there, and I'm like, is that Dick Dale? For those not familiar, like old-timey surf rock, Dick Dale. I'm like, is that playing that on the radio? Which I found kind of odd for a metal show. I'm expecting some guttural blasts like throughout the evening. I lean my head, and it's the band on stage. So there's like a 3-piece surf rock band playing in the middle of all of this. I'm like, all right.
I like that.
Me too. I like
an all Western New York show. We'll have we'll have a metal band, a punk band, and then a polka band that the three of the members play triangle.
Yes, I love it. I feel like you need to book that show. I don't take a loss, man. Take a loss if you have to. That show needs to happen.
Well, we lost our venue. Stamps was our go-to venue.
Yeah.
And Stamps closed during the pandemic and then never reopened. And I drove by it the other day, and it's just sitting there waiting for somebody to do something with it.
Yeah, it's a bummer.
So that was our go-to venue, and I know that Joe Kent. Has booked some shows for his production company, if you will. Mm-hmm. But for the most part, we've been pretty quiet. And all Western New York really hasn't done any live shows since the pandemic.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking about that the other day, and like even sitting here, you obviously can't see people listening, but I'm looking at like a wall of posters of many shows that all WNY has done. I'm seeing my band logo on a good number of them. And I was thinking that because I think
Joe booked you because you were free.
Yeah, that's a good possibility. I think he liked us too, but definitely because we don't charge a whole lot.
Actually, when BD2 was in here, they were talking about this New Year's Eve show right here that you guys were on, and you were supposed to be the Midnight Band, and then you lost a game of rock, paper, scissors.
Yeah, I lost a game of rock, paper, scissors to Rosie.
And they got to be the Midnight Band.
Yeah, which were cool. Like, it was one of those where neither band really gave a crap.
Right.
And instead of arguing about it, like, well, you go on last, we both like, all right, nominate somebody from the band. We're going to do a game of rock, paper, scissors, best 2 out of 3. Rosie won. Honestly, my band should not have picked me. I'm not notoriously known for winning at rock, paper, scissors. Right. Like, I lose.
Yeah.
I lose.
Because in my mind, rock beats everything.
Right, same
rock
here.
Rock smashes scissors.
Right, it rips through paper. Right, I know. The game
how
itself.
Paper beat rock? There's no way.
The logic behind it does not make sense to me whatsoever. It's ridiculous. I think that you and I are both right. Rock wins all.
Rock, yeah.
Yeah. Like, go ahead. Throw a piece of paper at me and I'll let you know how it feels. I'm going to throw a rock at you, and we're going to see which one of us is still standing.
Yeah, I feel you.
Maybe don't throw scissors, though.
Don't. Or run with them. That's
like a saying, even. That's a saying. Yeah, don't run with scissors.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean, we used to do a lot of things. We do have the posters here up in the studio. For those who are unaware, we have a very nice studio in the Niagara Business Center, which is at 1625 Buffalo Avenue in Niagara Falls. And Nick, I don't know, did you notice on your way in all the stuff going on behind the building?
I did see, like, there's a whole bunch of stuff going. Like, first of all, I noticed the parking lot is nice back there now. I'm like, oh wow. Like, I don't feel like I'm going to get mugged or molested or anything anymore. It's like well lit
building at least.
Right. I know. I mean, that's always the expectation coming here. Right. But I don't want it to happen outside. Other people could see. Gotta have my dignity.
Right.
But yeah, like it seems like a lot's going on back here. Yeah. So that's pretty cool.
So I don't know if you knew, a couple of years ago, Rainbow Air bought the building.
Okay.
And they mainly bought it because they wanted the land behind it.
Mm-hmm.
So that big building that's going up back there is Rainbow Air's new headquarters, should open next month.
So what is Rainbow Air? Is that the helicopter company?
The helicopter that used to take off at the Howard Johnsons.
Oh, cool.
And so they've been taking off the last couple of years out at the airport.
Mm-hmm.
But I think June 23rd is their opening date for here. And then the helicopter, there's a helipad back there that I'll show you when we're done.
Yeah.
And they'll still be taking off here all day.
All right. Now, I know you do podcast recording in here. Are you concerned about how that's going to impact?
Concerned.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
It's on the other side of the building. They're not flying over the building.
Right.
And I'm not in a soundproof room, but I am in a sound-treated room.
Gotcha.
So sound-treated room on the other side of the building, I'm hoping it's okay. If not, I just have to do more work at night.
I was going to say, I remember you being kind of a night owl anyway.
I
so
tend to be, yes.
that does seem to work out.
Although I got to tell you, the past few days I have woken up at like 10 in the morning, and I don't like it at all.
No.
So typically, honestly, I wake up afternoon. I go to bed when I'm tired. I do not set an alarm, and I wake up when I wake up.
Right.
But got married on Sunday.
Hey, congratulations about that,
so
by the
much.
way. Yeah.
And because of that, leading up to it, and then the day itself, and etc. My days are all out of whack. So Sunday obviously had to wake up early enough to make myself semi-presentable for the wedding.
Yep.
We got married at 11 a.m., so that meant I had to wake up at like 8. And then, of course, partied very hard. We played, and you've probably done this because you're so much cooler than I am. I had never done this before, but I had a blast doing it.
Did you play Spin the Bottle?
We played Thunderstruck.
Thunderstruck? Yes. All right.
So for those of you who are unaware, as I was unaware until, last week, Thunderstruck is a drinking game, and it's what's called a waterfall.
Mm-hmm.
And when they say thunder, one person starts drinking, and they have to continue to drink until they say thunder again.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes that's a few seconds. Sometimes it's much longer.
Yeah, sometimes people can be jerks about it.
My new wife and I, we were kind of in the middle of this very large circle, and we got really screwed because I went through a beer and a half during my thunder.
Ooh, that's mean. That's mean at that point. That's just people being jerks to be jerks.
It's the song. You
Yeah,
go where the song goes. So,
yeah.
So anyway, long story short, had a great day, but probably got a little drunk. And so then the next day, Monday, Memorial Day, I was just wiped out. So I went to sleep at like 9:30 at night, which is like that's the wrong day. Like,
Yeah,
I almost never go to sleep before midnight, but I went to sleep at 9:30 and. Anyway, long story short, ever since then, my sleep schedule's all screwed up.
Yeah. I mean, I just don't have a sleep schedule, as you and I have talked about many times before. Like, we both ugged about waking up at 10 o'clock in the morning for different reasons. That's early for you. Me, I wake up at so when I say I slept in, that means I woke up at 6:30.
See, and it is not unusual for me to be going to bed at 6:30.
But the thing is that I'm also going to bed at 3, 4.
That shit's going to change.
This should not function. No, but it's always been that way.
And it had always been that way for me too. And then one day, like a light switch, I suddenly needed 8 hours of sleep.
Well, you know what? I can't wait for that day to happen because, man, this is exhausting mentally.
Yeah.
It's I'm just always awake.
I've never been a huge fan of sleep. I can't get anything done while I'm sleeping.
Right? Yeah. No.
But at some point in my, I would say probably mid 40s, I went from needing 4 or 5 hours of sleep a night to literally needing 8 hours of sleep every night. And if I don't get my 8 hours of sleep, I am a bitch.
So you're saying that I'll go from needing my 2 to 3 hours of sleep a night to maybe 5 or 6.
Probably 12. You got to make up for it.
Nah, I'll make up for it when I'm dead, man.
All right. Well, that's a long way off. Hopefully.
Yes, it is. Nobody's that lucky.
Let's get back to the band. What's X and Pryor up to?
So we have a couple of shows coming up. We've got June 7th at the Evening Star. With Under the Black, Cam Girl, Murder, have to say it that way because there's the exclamation point at the end, and My Last Day. That one is Under the Black's EP release party, so that should be fun.
Evening Star is always a fun show.
It is.
It's a fun venue. It's a little different. It's like your standard dive bar out front.
Yeah.
But then you go like through these doors, and it's a concert hall. Now, mind you, it's a very small concert hall.
But it's a nice concert hall.
Yeah.
Like, the bathrooms are decent sized. They're well lit. I've never walked into that bathroom and gone, oh, I wish the lights were on.
Well, and I've seen bands ranging from Exum Priory to Pig there.
Yeah. Tons of bands. I mean, it used to be the main go-to for larger touring bands back in, like, you remember, before they remodeled the dive bar area, and by saying remodel, I mean they put some new flooring in and cleaned everything up some. But there used to be signed pictures all over the walls of, like, the Doors, Blue Oyster Cult, like all the big bands from the 60s, 70s, and even some of the 80s. That was the venue to go play back in the day when you were coming through Niagara Falls.
I was unaware of that. I just kind of assumed it was Rapids.
No, I mean, I remember Rapids wasn't Rapids way back when, and it was closed until the early 90s. And during that time, even in the 90s, it was a nightclub. It didn't become a concert venue again until, I want to say, I was almost out of high school. So we're talking like early 2000s before it really started doing concerts again.
So you're like 10 years younger than me. You're 40?
Yeah. 41.
41, all right.
Yep. Yeah, it's about 10. So, yeah, that around then is when you actually started seeing bands playing there again. Before that, it was a nightclub, and then it was just closed.
And there were some very cool bands that came to the Rapids.
Oh, certainly.
And now all of those bands are playing at Electric City.
Yes. Yep.
And
Buffalo.
I think Mark Violino has got something to do with Electric City, right?
Honestly, I do not know.
He was the guy that kind of ran Rapids.
Yeah. I don't know who's got to do with Electric City.
But they do have some very cool acts that come
They do. They certainly do. I mean, it's either that or the Town Ballroom, which in late June or July, I actually feel badly I don't know the date for this, but they're doing an all-local show. It's got like Atlas Rain on it, When Legions Fall, Tim the Truth is playing, a bunch of other bands. Deep State, they're an awesome metal band from Buffalo. I highly recommend checking them out if you're into metal. If anybody listening knows who the Dreadnecks are, then you'll like this band. I promise you. But yeah, it's the first all local.
That's really not what they're known for.
No, I mean there's been local
that's
bands.
Another thing. I've seen some great. I saw Public Enemy there.
Yeah.
I saw KMFDM there. I've seen KMFDM or Pig or NS or in probably a dozen different times in a dozen different venues.
Yes, within the local area. Yeah.
This might shock you, or maybe not. I don't know. But that's my favorite band.
That does not shock me at all because I know that about you. We've talked about this before, actually.
I was probably drunk.
I think the first time that you said it, I was like, really? Okay. Or maybe it was like I was more taken off I think first, like you said, you're more in like the electronic side of music to a degree, which I did not expect, just knowing how we met through concerts and everything.
Right.
So I didn't quite expect that, but... Yeah, no, that doesn't surprise me at all about you, buddy.
But I mean, if you meet me on the street, I'm a pretty prim and proper kind of guy.
Yeah.
You don't expect that my favorite band is an industrial band out of Germany.
Right. And then you look at me and I say my favorite band is Metallica, and you go, yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
What you should do is you should tell people that like your favorite band is New Kids on the Block.
Or what was I say? I was talking to somebody at work the other day, and he was ragging on like Kenny G or something, which I'm not going to sit here and say I love Kenny G, but musician, talented, not my thing,
without a doubt.
But I looked at him like, man, I'm like, man, sometimes people surprise you. Like me, people wouldn't know. I'm a big ABBA fan. Love ABBA. Fernando, SOS, Dancing Queen.
ABBA
These are
fun.
bangers. They're bangers, Scott. They're good music. It's fun to listen to.
ABBA is legitimately fun. I will say that.
Agreed. So, I mean, I'm a fan of them. I mean, if we hop in my vehicle right now and it's going to be symphony music playing, because I love classical music too.
All right.
But anyway,
Tchaikovsky.
I do like Tchaikovsky. I'm more of a Vivaldi or Brahms. I like Brahms because it's a little bit more of the metal sound. It's got the dissonant notes. It's a little bit more on the minor scale. I like Vivaldi.
I remember we played a Vivaldi song. I was in concert band in high school, and we played one of the spring songs.
Yeah, Vivaldi.
Oh, wait. No, it was spring. It was one of the Four Seasons songs.
Yes.
We played spring.
So, with a fun fact about Vivaldi, great-grandfather of the single. When Vivaldi was writing music, he realized that instead of writing a giant score that you would obviously do on commission or you would sell to somebody, you could make more money writing small movements and selling those to people. So he's actually the first one that ever thought about what we would, the modern term, a single, more or less.
Another song we played in concert band in high school. I played trumpet.
Mm-hmm.
Not well, mind you. But I was a trumpet player in high school.
Mm-hmm.
Was Jupiter by Holst.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. Holst the Planets was another.
Yeah. But yeah, if you really think about like Vivaldi's music specific, like even the one you said, the Four Seasons, you know, singles.
Right.
Winter, spring, summer, fall. Your singles right there.
Interesting.
When I first learned that, I'm like, that's actually pretty cool.
That is pretty cool.
Yeah. So there you go. See, surprising things musically about people that you wouldn't expect.
Speaking of singles, you guys making any music?
Yeah. So we were just in the studio with Ron Hensbury from GCR Recording Studio, Robbie Takehack's place.
Right.
Old friend of mine. He's moving out of the area, unfortunately, and he was kind of doing his final rounds and trying to get together with people he hadn't worked with yet. So he hit me up. We already have our album recorded, and it'll be out eventually, but we talked to each other like, well, you know, we'll just go and record some singles to put out coming up. So you'll be hearing some new music single-wise from that, and then I'm really not allowed to talk about a date or anything. So, like, the album will be coming out, you know.
Push.
Yeah, the album will be coming out, but it's recorded. It's just a matter of getting it ready for everybody to hear. You know, make it sound nice.
All right, so for those who don't know, Exham Priory, the name, comes from?
So that'd be H.P. Lovecraft's short story, The Rats on the Walls. It's the building. That's the main focal point of the story.
And this is why you call your fans rats.
Yes, it is.
Because it's not a nice thing to call people, especially those that, like, love you.
Right, or, you know, people that grew up around as a tent. Hey, are you a rat over there? You know, but no, we use it lovingly. We love our rat family. We do.
Are you a Lovecraft fan?
Yes, I'm a huge Lovecraft fan.
I just can't.
It's tough. It's a tough read.
I feel like I am, like, one acid trip short of comprehending where he's coming from.
And that could be very possible. I mean, it's a very tough read because he writes in, it's not even an old English style. It's more or less like an American trying to emulate Old English. So it makes it a tough read there. He spells things like a Brit does, like, you know, color is C-O-L-O-U-R. Why not? Which the reason that we don't spell it that way is because the early printing press, every letter that you use costs more. So they were like, all right, where can we chop out certain vowels?
So a lot of, like, AP style, AP standing for Associated Press, a lot of AP style is specifically just to get rid of as many letters as humanly possible.
Yes, so that's why we spell color different. But it is a tough read. Plus, it's very hard to get into, because if you're reading, you're usually trying to picture something mentally. And when a lot of it is cosmic horror, which for those unfamiliar with the term refers to something that is so scary, it's unfathomable what you're looking at. That makes it really hard to come up with a mental image when that's the only description that you've got,
right?
Except for maybe some tentacles and wings.
Right. So I lost it. I had a thought and it's gone. But I was just gonna say Lovecraft. Like he's niche.
Yes.
But it's a huge following.
Yeah, like
but a lot of people are probably like, what the fuck is an H.P. Lovecraft?
Right, or they've heard the name, but they've never read anything, or they don't know any references. Although, I mean, anybody in this modern age that's never heard of Cthulhu, it's one of those things where it's kind of gotten into pulp culture, very in detail.
So one of the hats that I wear, one of the things that I do is I voice audiobooks for a YouTube channel that I run.
Okay.
Called Stop, Book, and Listen.
Okay.
And it's just it's all copyright free stuff that the copyright is run out on, public domain stuff.
Yes.
And I've done several H.P. Lovecraft short stories.
Mm-hmm.
And they go over, like, every time I post one, people are all over it.
Yeah.
But the three that I do the most of are Lovecraft, Poe.
Okay.
I love Poe.
Yeah, a lot of people that like Lovecraft love Poe too.
And the Brothers Grimm.
Those
because the
classics.
Brothers Grimm wrote 200 different stories.
Yes.
And many of the stories we know, but we don't know the version that they wrote.
No. I mean, it was they were a product of their time. It was a much darker time where your mortality rate was kind of
yeah. But so I actually just recorded a Brothers Grimm the other night that I have yet to make a video for, but that'll be going online in the next couple of days.
Nice.
Same with I recorded an E.A. Poe. Sorry, Edgar Allan Poe.
Mm-hmm.
In my mind, it's
E.A. Poe. Yeah.
So I recorded a Poe that'll go online soon as well.
Nice.
My oldest daughter lives in Baltimore, and whenever I go to visit her, I got to go.
You have to go to the grave. You have to go to the grave. Yep. Yeah. Nice. Very cool.
It's probably one of the most famous graves in the world, if not.
It's definitely well known. I mean, I put it up there with like Jim Morrison's gravesite in Paris. I mean, it's pretty high up there. Yeah. People recognize that one. Yeah. Nice.
And it's cool because it's just in a church. You know, it's a very small graveyard in a church.
Well, I mean, you got to think, when he passed away, he wasn't anybody when he passed away. He was barely known. He was one of those where he didn't get, just like Lovecraft. Lovecraft didn't really get known. He was published in very much the same type of publications that Poe was, just like the science fiction rags. I can't think of the term they used to use for them, but they were just like locally distributed magazines and everything that sometimes got syndicated across certain regions. So they weren't known by anybody until much later when people started coming across their written work and like, oh, you've got to read this. You got to check this out. This is out there. I'm sure there's probably a lot of acid involved, like we were talking about earlier.
Right. But without these guys, so much, there would be no Twilight Zone.
No. They really were the foundation for what we think of as modern sci-fi and horror. There wouldn't be any of the monster horror or anything like that. They kind of maybe not founded it, but definitely refined it.
Mary Shelley founded it.
Yeah, I mean Mary Shelley or Bram Stoker, with Dracula, which personally I like Dracula a lot more than I like Frankenstein. And for anybody that's never read Frankenstein, I mean it's a huge concept, but they just glance right over when the monster comes to life. It's like, all right, this happens and the monster's alive. Like it's literally there's no punctuation to it. It's just kind of like oh, okay, well I guess if it were me, if I was there, I'd be like, holy crap, there's a dead creature that's now alive right now and sentient. Right. But no, all right. Fair enough. Yeah, it is a slog to get through. Yeah. I like Bram Stoker's Dracula, though. I thought that was because it's written, it's very easily digestible. It's small letters to and from the different characters, so it makes it a lot easier to get through.
Well, and one of the really cool things about Dracula, probably more so than any other piece of literature that I can think of, gave birth to an entire genre. This one book created, so Frankenstein holds up well on its own. We've got the werewolf, we've got the mummy, etc. But Bram Stoker's Dracula gave us vampires, and there have been so many books and TV shows, and I'm a huge Buffy fan.
Same. How excited are you for them bringing the show back?
I don't know.
If it's got the cast, I'm in.
Yeah, I love Buffy, but I am worried. I also loved Angel. I thought Angel was a great show.
I didn't mind it. Angel I didn't love as much as I loved Buffy, but I liked Angel. But I'm excited to see what they do. Even if it's for just a little mini-series or one season back and that's it, just to because there were a lot of loose ends in that last episode. I'm right.
Oh, sure. But I mean, they're rebooting it, so they got to get there still.
Right, I mean,
if I'm understanding correctly, it starts when she gets to Sunnydale.
Oh, it's a full-on reboot?
From my understanding, it is a full-on reboot.
So is Sarah Michelle Gellar going to play Joyce?
I don't know.
I'm going to be so confused if they do that. No, it needs to pick up with them like, all right, everybody hop on the bus and ride off to the sunset.
Yeah, I don't think that's it. I think they're just starting over.
All right.
And so many things do that.
Yeah. Well, I guess only time's going to tell then.
Did you read The Stand?
Yeah, I love The Stand.
Did you watch the 4-part and then the 10 parts?
So I've seen the original 4-part.
The 4-part.
Which...
With Molly Ringwald and...
Yeah, and Gary Sinise, John Malkovich was in that as the trash can, or as the garbage man, or the trash can man. Bumpity bump.
No, that wasn't Sinise. That was Frewer. Matt Frewer.
Gary Sinise played... no, he was in there. Sinise was definitely... He was the deaf guy.
Right. I'm sorry. I misunderstood. I thought you were saying Gary Sinise played the trash can man.
No, he didn't. No, he didn't. But... Anyway, yeah, I liked that. I haven't seen the newer version. See, everybody that I've talked to has said that.
I was told not to watch it, and then I watched it anyway, and I was angry that I did.
So, are you a King fan?
I love King.
All right. Are you a Dark Tower fan?
I've never read The Dark Towers.
Okay, because that's one of those series. I love The Dark Tower. It is hands down my favorite book series ever written, and that it's a very neck and neck between that and Lord of the Rings. And I love Lord of the Rings.
See, I didn't like Lord of the Rings at all. Lord of the Rings is like a book that will I'm asleep by the end of the first page. It's just, I don't know.
It's the way it's. Although if you listen to audiobooks, I highly recommend listening to the Lord of the Rings series read by Andy Serkis, the guy that did Gollum. He does a wonderful job.
So I do, for a variety of reasons, I do mostly listen to. I spend most of my day reading.
Yeah, I
read out loud, but still, I spend most of my day reading. So when I'm done working, I really don't want to read.
Right.
I still want to be entertained.
Yes.
And television only goes so far. I want books. So I have an Audible subscription, and I
highly recommend those. Look them up. If you're willing to try to get through Lord of the Rings, the actual books.
I don't know, man.
I'd recommend that because I've physically read them dozens of times, and I get it.
So I remember in high school, I had a couple friends that just thought it was the best thing ever, and gave me, the first book,
Fellowship.
Yeah, Fellowship of the Ring. And I started it, and I'm like, I can't with I can't with this. But I mean, I grew up on King and Kuntz and I don't remember who else. But, the horror genre books.
Yeah.
And surprisingly, my parents, who were fairly conservative, bought them for me. They were just excited I was reading.
Right. I love, but with King, The Dark Tower is like a 7 or 8 book series, where the smallest book is around 400 or 500 pages.
All right.
They made it into a one single 1 hour, 28 minute long movie. And I watched that, knowing what I was getting.
Randall Flagg in it, right?
Yes.
All right.
Yeah, a version of Randall Flagg, because all things lead to the back to the Dark Tower.
So the Dark Tower is 7 books?
Yes.
So I'm going to guess that 6.5 of them are awesome. And the last, because that's my big problem with Stephen King. And it's not just the movies. The man cannot finish. The man cannot write an ending.
All right, so, I mean, it's... Yeah. I mean, it's the true of Lovecraft, too. Lovecraft was notorious for, his main characters at the end, and then madness overtook me.
I did not know this was going to turn into Literature Hour.
See, I surprised you. But no, that Lovecraft was the same way, where madness overtook me, and then darkness fell. That's not a freaking ending. That's a cop out. King is notorious for having a hard time with endings too.
So Stephen King writes these great mystery books, and with lots of human dynamics and characters and character development, et cetera, and then all of a sudden, aliens. And it's like, what?
Oh, my God, that's the Tommy Knockers in a very, very small nutshell. A very accurate nutshell, yes.
And Under the Dome. Did you read Under the Dome?
Yes, I did. I read Under the Dome, and when they turned it into a TV series, I was like, how?
I didn't hate it, though.
I heard that it was good, but I didn't get into it initially because I'm like...
Because you were scared.
Well, it's more so, I looked at it, and they were like, it's going to be a multi-season show.
Right.
I'm like, how? The book wasn't that long.
It was a good 400 pages, though.
But still, comparative to a lot of King's work.
So at the time, I didn't have a car, and I was taking the bus back and forth from Niagara Falls to Lockport.
Okay.
And would read it on the bus.
Yeah.
And so I'm sitting there with this huge-ass book, and I got some really weird looks.
Hey, but it was a good book. You are accurate. Like, maybe it's the government. Maybe it's some evil person. No, it's aliens. It's aliens again.
Right.
God dang it, Stephen. You said it wasn't going to be aliens again.
Right. It's like Lucy with the football.
Yes, exactly. He's just holding the book there for us. We come running up, and boom, aliens.
Yeah.
Oh, so many of his books. Now that they're flooding through my head, I'm like, Dreamcatcher, aliens. We need to get off this topic because this is a rabbit hole that we'll just keep going down.
All right. Let's change rabbit holes. Let's get back to music.
Yes.
All right. So you guys got a show coming up June
7th, the Evening Star, with Under the Black and several others. That one's got $10 pre-sale tickets. You can get a hold of the band page. You can get a hold of any of our members, me, Dan, Anth, or Tom. We can catch up with you for tickets, or you can Venmo me, and I'll do will call with your name on the ticket at the door. And then after that, we're returning to Mr. Goodbar for the first time since 2018. I probably should add that because I'm like the band historian or something, but 2018, I think, is the last time we played at Mr. Goodbar. Luke was still in the band. Our original guitar player.
Right. Luke, also known as Lucas and Lucifer.
Yes, and he was still in the band the last time that we played there, so it's been a while. And this is our 10th year as a band, 9th year on stage, because we spent like the first year jamming in the basement and just having people over to drink and listen to us. That still counts, though. It still counts. Yeah, so it's been a while. That one there, that's with the Impurity and Silverproof. That one's just a $10 door cover. That one is Friday, July 18th at Mr. Goodbar in the Attic.
All right. Now, Luke was a member of Think So Brain, right?
Yes. Right. He was a member of Think So Brain.
Think So Brain is where Think So Joe gets his name. And when All Western New York Radio was first starting, almost 20 years ago, it's been more than 19 years, we had these massive house parties. And Think So Brain played a couple of them. And even the ones that they didn't play at, they were there.
They were there.
We had, a lot of the same crowd at each show. So Luke was around. Luke was around a lot in the beginning of All Western New York Radio.
Yes, he was.
So, and 19 years later, we're still going.
Yeah, man, congratulations. That's a long time.
It really is.
It's a long time. Good for you.
And so 20th year is next year, and
cool.
We'll see what happens between now and then.
I like it.
I think we'll make it.
I think
our odds
will.
are good.
I think you'll be all right.
I was talking to Rosie from BD2. So I want to do some sort of a 20th anniversary show.
Yeah.
But I want it to be, I want it to be huge.
Yep. As it should. 20 years, that's a big deal.
I kind of want it to be free.
Yeah. Which
means I kind of need bands that are willing to play for free.
I mean, I'm your Huckleberry.
But that's one show I want to do. I was talking to her, and I might have mentioned this to you before. I want to do like an acoustic show on Duck Island.
I do too. I've wanted to do something out there for a while.
Duck Island, for those of you who don't know, is it's in Hyde Park in Niagara Falls, behind Sale Magley Stadium. Basically.
Yes, it's a tiny little thing. I've wanted to do like an outdoor multi-stop festival in that whole area for years.
Kind of like Music Art.
Very similar, just the logistics of it and the fact that it's. So here's the problem: $1 million ideas, folks. Usually they cost $1 million to make them happen. Now, I don't have $1 million. If anybody that's listening has $1 million, or even a percentage of $1 million, you want to give that to me so that I can do this, you have a deal. But I don't think that's going to happen. So I'm just trying right now.
I do have a percentage. Well, not a percent, but a percentage of $1 million.
Technically, everybody's got, if you got a couple of pennies.
It's in the jar by the door.
All right.
Feel free to reach in and grab a handful on your way out. I was talking to a buddy of mine earlier today, a group chat that I have. There's three of us. And it's funny because we all have very different perspectives on life. And, like, any two of us have things in common. So sometimes the conversation, I'll tune in and all right, this is not for me, and I'll tune in a couple hours later. But my buddy said something in the chat earlier. He said, I have no inspiration lately. I messaged him and I was like, inspiration or motivation. I was like, because I have ideas out the wazoo. I just can't seem to get off my ass and do any of them. He's like, no, I have ideas like crazy.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
So, it's like, it's the same thing as like, or correlation and causation. They're two different things. Like, not having the motivation, not having inspiration are two completely different things.
Right.
So.
Yeah, because I can't do anything without thinking of, this would be a great idea.
Yep.
And I'm like, when the hell are you going to do that, Scott? You just started a podcast.
Yep. It's like, good. More time that you don't have to spend.
Right.
Sure.
Exactly.
Yeah, I get that. I completely understand. But, I would love to do the Duck Island, the acoustic show thing. That's a great idea. And that'd be fairly low. So you'd pretty much be looking at, like, permits, I guess.
Right. Probably insurance.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, I've looked into the permits and everything. The permits aren't horrendous. They are not cheap by any means, but they're not astronomical as I was expecting. It's the insurance that gets you. It's like, holy cow.
Well, a lot of times, a lot of these festivals or things like this are sponsored by some sort of a service organization, like the Lions Club, as an example, because they've already got crazy insurance. And so you go to one of these service organizations, the Lions or the Elks or whatever, and you get them on as a sponsor. And in exchange for being able to use their name, basically, they insure it. And they've already, it doesn't cost them anything. They're already paying a stupid amount for insurance for their own place for the year. They just get a rider, and it, like I said, doesn't cost them anything, but now you have... Anyway, just a thing. Having done this before.
Right, so, and the primary reason, because I've noticed something lately, that Niagara Falls has kind of started to lose its musical identity in the local area.
Yeah.
I don't know how often you go to shows of the Evening Star. Over the past couple of months, because my personal situation will change, have been going out a lot more and
catching...
Let me
ask you this. When's the last time you saw me at the Evening Star? Because that was probably the last time I was there.
It's been a bit, so that long then. So, I've been going there a lot. And something I've noticed is that the bands, and some of them have picked up on it and worked on it, but a lot of them say, what's going on in Buffalo? It's like, we're not Buffalo. This is Niagara Falls.
Yes and no. See, that part doesn't bother me so much. In my mind, it's all Buffalo.
Yeah, a lot of people say that, and I don't know. To me, it's the same music scene in general, but they are different cities, and they put out different types of bands.
If it's a local band that says what's going on in Buffalo when they're in Niagara Falls, that's a thing.
And that's the thing. It's all locals that I'm catching.
If it were a bigger act,
All right, but no, this is all. It's been smaller indie local bands.
If you guys went up on stage and said, "What's going on in Buffalo?" Grand Island.
Yeah, that would not be cool. Yeah. So it's something I've been noticing. I think it's part of it's we've just kind of lost our musical identity, which is crazy because we put out very different bands. Like everything I look at that comes out of Buffalo, you got your rock, a lot of punk, a lot of metal. A lot of the bands that I'm seeing from the Falls, even us include, people say that we're heavy, but we're not crazy heavy. I think it was more of
you're heavy.
We're straightforward rock and roll, maybe leaning into hard rock some, but a lot of blues influence. I see a lot of hippie jam influence in a lot of bands coming out of the Falls. There's maybe one or two punk bands or metal, but a lot of it's
Americana is the new big thing.
So
I feel like there's a lot of Americana.
And I see a lot of acoustic acts out of the Falls.
Hate.
No, I don't hate it either. I like that style of music. It's not always my cup of tea, but I don't hate it.
But and the distinction is slight.
Very slight.
But whatever that distinction is, I like Americana because it's got that little bit of blues to it.
So the difference is Americana doesn't use the same four chords over and over again. Yeah, but no, I get what you're saying. It is a difference between the two. It's slight, but it's noticeable. I see such different styles coming from both cities, and it's kind of a bummer that and this might just be an old man bitching, but whatever. That's what I'm going to do. But I have noticed that, so I would love to do something in the Falls that's maybe not the level of music as art, at least maybe not yet, but I'd like to start leaning into something like that and getting that going, because I think that'd be fun.
It's a cool idea. So what you got to do is start making political donations.
Oh.
Dude,
the way the world works, man.
Son of a gun.
And you gotta make political donations to both candidates for every race, so that no matter who wins, you're in.
Playing both sides of the coin.
That's the way
politics.
to do it.
That's politics right there. You play both sides of the coin.
Yeah.
Or you just steal the coin. Either way. Politics.
That's a different brand of politics.
Different brand. Okay. That's more of the Italian brand of politics. I gotcha. What coin? There was no coin here. Get the hell out of here.
All right, Nick. We should probably wrap things up.
Yeah, man.
But before we do, I want you to tell me your 3 favorite bands from Western New York currently, and your 3 favorite venues from Western New York currently.
All right.
And then your favorite pizza.
Ooh, all right. So let's see. 3 favorite bands from Western New York currently. I love Grosh. Grosh is freaking awesome.
How can you not love them?
Living Brain Dead.
They're going to be in a couple weeks, by the way.
Nice. Yeah, I love them. They're such great people. I'm friends with, I've known a lot of them for years, and they're great people to hang out with.
True story. Ran into you at the the Living Brain Dead CD release party.
Yes.
At Nietzsche's, what was that, a month ago or so?
Yeah, a month or so ago, yeah.
And Megan Brown from Grosh was there.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I've met Megan probably a dozen times.
Yeah.
We have dozens of mutual friends.
Yep.
And I'm not one to get starstruck by any stretch of the imagination, but I'm always nervous to approach her for a variety of reasons. 1, she's gorgeous.
Mm-hmm.
2, she's amazing.
Yeah.
Which means that you add those 2 up. And 3, she's got a lot of overzealous fans.
Yes.
And I'm always afraid that, because I'm just some guy.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I'm your average white dude.
Yeah.
And so every time I talk to her, I'm afraid that she's not going to remember me because she's amazing and I'm just Scott Leffler.
Oh God.
And so I'm always nervous. And every time she's like, "Yes, I remember you."
Yeah.
Like, dumbass. Yes, I remember.
Yeah, we've met dozens of times, Scott.
Every time I meet her, I like, hi, I'm Scott Leffler. I'm friends with Heather and Scotty.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
She's like, "Yeah, I know."
Yeah, we've had this conversation before. I know. Yeah.
Really. Anyway, sorry.
But no, I love Grosh. They're awesome. I love Living Brain Dead. They're like one of my favorite punk bands going on right now in the area. And then
Joanne is fun.
Yeah, she really is. She's an awesome person.
I mean, the guys in the band are okay too.
Yeah, they are. But Jill's the day they gave Jill access to to do their social media, it was a game changer right there.
Well, even just like her own social media.
Yeah,
it
can get kind of unhinged. It's terrific. It's freaking terrific. I love it. So I love both those bands. It's such a hard, it's always hard to say who are my favorites. If we're gonna go with bands that have put stuff out lately, because I'm always gonna want to say the Dreadnecks. I love the Dreadnecks. They are one of my favorite bands, but I know they're not super active lately. I do know they are playing Ironworks coming up with Inertia, which I think is a fairly big show for them. So, kudos to them. I like Tim the Truth. Tim the Truth is super fun.
Tim the Truth is a band I'm unfamiliar with.
Yeah, so I mean, you
mentioned them earlier, and I like mentally said I got to check them out.
All right, so you know Mario. Everybody knows Mario, the bass player. Navilio.
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah. So he plays bass with them. Tim. So I know Tim Callums. He's a really cool kid. I say kid. He's not a kid, but he's younger than I am. So everybody's a kid. He's a really cool dude. He's with hip hop, and I call
my wife a kid. She's 3 years younger than I am. She's a good kid. I say it all the time. She's a good kid.
But he was hip hop, which I have no problem with hip hop, but it's not usually the genre that I gravitate towards at all. But I kept hearing his name, hearing Tim the Truth, and then I checked him out online. I'm like, okay, every recording list, it's hip hop. I don't know why people keep saying they're super heavy. I'm hearing hip hop. And then I caught them live, and I realized, live he has a metal band behind him it's metal mixed with hip hop. So think like late 90s, early 2000s, but in a good way.
So like a heavy Limp Bizkit?
Yeah, with not as tongue-in-cheek, or not as goofy tongue-in-cheek lyrics and a little more straightforward, but kind of in that general direction. But they're awesome. I like them. Again, is it always exactly what I'm going for? No, but I really like what they do. Their performance live is awesome. They pull
and they're playing at the Evening Star show?
No, they are playing at the no. Tim the Truth is playing at Town Ballroom show. We're not on.
Oh, all right. I remember you mentioning them earlier, and those were the two shows. I forgot about you were talking about the local show at the ballroom.
So I like those three as far as bands go. I could rattle off a billion other band names, but I like those three. If we're going to go like top, who I really enjoy hanging out with, listening to, seeing live, them. Three favorite venues. Evening Star, it's home. I used to be in the house band. I just like it there. Evening Star is my favorite place. From there, I don't know if it's even still open, but I really liked Amy's place. It was a dive punk setup, and I really had a lot of fun playing there.
From what I understand, it is still open, and I didn't know until just a few weeks ago that there was concert side of Amy's place.
Yeah.
In my mind, Amy's place was just like a vegan restaurant.
Right, no, there's that whole other side there. Yeah, Area 55, I think they call it.
I thought it was 51, but
51 or something like that.
Maybe that's just because I'm thinking of this place in Arizona.
Maybe, but yeah, I had a lot of fun there. And then past that, Buffalo, a lot of the venues are closed. I loved Mohawk, but Mohawk's not there. So,
right. Yeah, two of my favorite venues, Mohawks and Stamps.
Yeah. Jackrabbit. I like Jackrabbit. I've seen
a show there yet.
I've seen a bunch of bands there. In fact, I saw last time I went to, I think it was Grosh, with a band from Cleveland called Trust.
This was a couple weeks ago.
Yes.
So this was the show that you told me I had to go to.
Yes.
And then I didn't go.
Yes.
Yeah, that one.
That one. Trust was amazing. I'm totally into what they're doing. It's hard rock, female fronted, which male, female, I really don't give a shit. If it sounds fucking awesome, I'm into it. I don't need another label. I really dig what they were doing. But yeah, I've seen a bunch of bands there from.
So Jackrabbit is relatively new. What, 5 years?
About that, I can't quite remember when Kevin the team opened it up. So one of the owners is Megan from Grosh's husband.
They won several All Western New York awards.
Yes, they are amazing.
They just stormed onto the scene.
Yes,
the Kaz has also stormed onto the scene.
Okay, I keep hearing about that place. I haven't been to it yet.
I have not yet either, but I've heard amazing things.
Okay, but as far as Jackrabbit goes, the Philly cheesesteak sub. Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
All right.
It's ruined it for me at other places. It's most excellent. I highly recommend it.
That's an excellent segue to the next question, which was favorite pizza.
Favorite pizza. All right, favorite pizza, that's going to be the old Mr. Ventry's, now known as Buck's Pizza.
You don't like Buck's?
That's what I'm saying. I love Buck's.
Oh, okay.
The old Mr.
I love Buck's.
The old Mr. Ventry's, a.k.a. That's right, Prince of Pierce on Pierce Avenue in Niagara Falls. It's called Buck's. Best pizza in the city, I'd say in the Tri-County area.
Now, I grew up on Sammy's, and I like Sammy's pizza. You have told me before you don't think it is what it used to be.
I was never a big fan, and I don't say that to hate on the place. I know a lot of people.
Honey's, the old school Honey's on the boulevard with the Pine Avenue, I should say, with the pink elephant.
Yeah.
To me, it always had I don't know if they put too much yeast in their pizza, but it always tasted like beer to me.
Yes. But yeah, I know people that swear by Sammy's, and it's just.
I like Sammy's. I love Buck's. I also really like Buzzy's.
I like Buzzy's. It's been a while since I've been to Buzzy's, honestly. But I've never had a bad pizza from them ever. But no, I like Buck's as far as pizza goes.
These are all Niagara Falls pizzerias for those who are like, I've never heard of any of these places.
And if you haven't heard of them, you need to look it up. Buck's on Pierce Avenue in Niagara Falls. Don't worry about the neighborhood. It looks rough. There's a lot of good people down there, though.
Pierce and 19th?
No,
it's
like Pearson 22nd or 24th. It's somewhere in that area.
I said, yeah.
But it's an awesome pizza place. Cheap slices.
They're open late. Cheap slices.
They're only open till 11 o'clock nowadays.
They used to be open later when they were Ventry's.
Yeah, when they were Ventry's. So that was the place that after you were done playing a show and it's 2 o'clock in the morning, you'd be going there for slices.
Buck took it over, which was a year or two ago.
Yeah, about a year or two ago. They closed at 11.
Earlier.
Which, I mean, again. In Niagara Falls, there's one thing, places that are open 24 hours or very late run the risk of getting held up and robbed.
Well, dude,
it sucks.
I mean, how many times have you seen 7-Eleven, any one of the 7-Elevens be like, yeah, we're closing at 10 now?
Yeah, almost all of them.
And then a few months later, then they go back to being 24 hours.
Well, actually, most of them are honoring the original hours,
7 to 11.
Hence the name for those that don't know that.
During the pandemic, I was living in NT. Mm-hmm. And I got out of work relatively early one night, which was probably like 10 o'clock.
Okay.
And decided, you know what? I'm going to go home. I'm going to grab a beer. I'm gonna, have something to eat. I was really excited, but once the pandemic hit, everything closed early, and then things had not gotten back to where they were opening late, and they still haven't.
Yeah,
they still, but I remember going and trying to find something to eat, and have a beer, and the only thing open was the thing that was named after the fact that it shouldn't have been open because it was after 11. But 7-Eleven was open. Yeah. And it was the only, all the bars I wanted to go to were already closed. I don't even think it was midnight, but it was after 11. And I just remember thinking how funny it was that the 7 to 11 was still open, but everything else was closed.
Oh, addendum to my venues. I also love the Stone Jug out in Youngstown. So there's an open mic there every Wednesday night. Dave Thurman runs it. Every Wednesday night there from 7.
Dave Thurman also runs an open mic at Wagonville, right?
He does the once a month on the first Friday of the month. He does the singer-songwriter showcase there, where it's pretty much an open mic.
And Wagonville's another great venue.
Yes, it is. That is very true.
But it's not so much for your band.
I don't know about that. I've been seeing some punk bands and stuff there every once in a while, so possibly. But I really like the
good Wings there, by the way.
Yes, the Wings. Those are probably the best Niagara Falls. Period. But the Stone Jug out in Youngstown's pretty awesome too. They have a back patio stage that is. It kind of it's got this Grand Ole Opry kind of feel, and I think Grosh is playing there eventually. I know they're playing at Sunset Grill out in Wilson, which I'll have to go check out too. But
Sunset Grill has some great shows, but they're usually classic rock blues shows.
Yeah, which Grosh kind of fits in with that general range.
They do.
But so see, we just keep going on, and I'm like, wait, no, this one and this. Oh, I forgot about this one. Uh-huh. It's tough when you say, what are your top? Especially you said top 10. People struggle, but you can do it. Top 5, people really have a hard time. Top 3, you're really making me cut the heads here.
All right, so just a minor segue, and then we really got to close things out.
Yeah.
So how many favorite movies, air quotes that you didn't see there, how many favorite movies do you have? Because I have at least 3 or 4, depending on my mood.
Wow.
So
if I had to say, all right, so
Hudson Hawk, definitely favorite movie.
That's a great movie.
But also Better Off Dead.
Okay.
But
so
also Home Alone 2.
So those are tough. Or let's say that I got stuck on a desert island and somehow had the ability to watch one movie. I was like, if you're stuck on a desert island, what record would you bring with you? None, because I wouldn't have any energy to play records.
But also Ocean's 11. I think Ocean's 11 I could actually watch on a loop.
So if I had to pick what's my favorite movie, it's going to jump back and forth between 2. It's going to be Jaws.
All right. 50 years old now.
Jaws. And see, now it's like, wait, but there's... All right, so within the top 3...
Did you do Lego at all?
What's that?
Did you do Lego at all?
Yes, I have...
have you seen the Jaws set?
Yes, I have.
It's
I know.
So cool.
I want it. I just can't justify it because I did, within the last 12 months, get a Legend of Zelda Lego set that was pretty penny, but I had to have it.
Uh-huh.
But all right, so I had to go top 3. It'd be switching up between Jaws, 3:10 to Yuma. Again, I love westerns.
All right.
I love westerns.
All right.
Friday the 13th.
The original.
The original, just because it loses its scare value, but I just like it. It's one of the original slasher films. They put a little bit of thought in how they killed those camp counselors off. It was kind of fun and campy.
But also Scream. I'm just throwing it.
See?
Literally,
yeah.
You asked me my favorite movie.
Yeah.
And I will give you one of those answers.
And you know what? And Scream is one of those movies where it was obviously intended kind of as a serious spoof on the slasher films.
It was like tongue-in-cheek, but
it just changed slasher films. Well, it's like they leaned into it and pivoted with it. It kind of changed the direction of how
horror movies.
It did, and it kind of changed the direction that horror movies were going in. Because up until we're getting a lot of vampire and monster movies, which are fun and all, but there's only so many times that I'm in a jump scare of the Wolfman or something.
Right.
But See,
I honestly think that the fact that Drew Barrymore was killed in the first scene,
and she was a huge part of the marketing campaign,
but
everybody's mind.
That's the thing. I think that fried people's brains to the extent that we now have 7 Scream movies.
Yeah,
I don't think we would have if that hadn't been the case. If the first victim had been some unknown.
Right, it kind of changed how we look. All right, it doesn't matter where on that poster their name is. They might go at any minute.
All right, speaking of going at any minute, Nick Lucido.
Scott.
Dude, I love you.
Yeah, I love you too, man. This has been awesome. It's always good to see you.
Do this again.
Yes, we will. Please.
Any chance you want to come back and do a podcast on West York Radio?
I got to find some time, but I'd be definitely interested in it.
All right, we'll see. Don't hold your breath over it, folks.
Don't worry, I'll be back.
He's Nick Lucido. I'm Scott Leffler, and I will be back.
Peace.
But we're going to close out today's show with a song by Exum Priory. No Quarter. Till next week, folks. Have a great one.